The first time I saw her boss hug her, I told myself it was nothing. A friendly gesture, a professional comfort. Whatever helped me sleep that night. But the second time, when his hand lingered too long at her waist and she didn't pull away, something inside me cracked quietly. Like a hairline fracture you don't notice until the whole thing collapses. We were at her company's annual dinner. Dim lights, soft jazz, expensive wine. The kind of night meant for networking and polite laughter. Emily had spent weeks obsessing over her dress, her hair, the right earrings. I teased her about it, but when she walked out of the bedroom that night, even I was speechless. "You look amazing," I said genuinely. She smiled, but her eyes flicked past me, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror again. "Thanks, babe. Let's not be late." Marcus hates when people show up after him. Marcus, her boss. The man whose name I'd heard more often than my own in the past 6 months. The dinner was at the Hilton Ballroom. Round tables dressed in white linen. Laughter echoing off chandeliers. I followed her through the crowd like a shadow, shaking hands with people who barely remembered my name. Emily, though, she was alive there. Bright. Confident. Then he arrived. Marcus. Tall, perfect suit, that kind of smile that felt rehearsed. He saw her before she saw him, and his face lit up. "Emily." He crossed the room, arms wide, pulling her in before I could process it. The hug wasn't quick. It wasn't polite. His hand rested low, too low. She laughed softly, almost shyly, but she didn't stop him. I froze. Every instinct screamed to say something, to step in. But I didn't want to make a scene, not here. So I swallowed it. Pretended to smile. Pretended not to notice that my wife's perfume now lingered on another man's suit. The night blurred after that. I laughed when I was supposed to, nodded through conversations I didn't hear. Emily drifted from table to table, Marcus always close. Once I caught them at the bar, her hand brushing his arm, their heads too close. She noticed me watching, smiled that quick, guilty smile, and waved me over like nothing was wrong. When the dinner ended, I was exhausted from pretending. In the car, the silence was heavy. "You were quiet tonight," she said finally, glancing at me. Didn't have much to say. "Don't tell me you're upset about Marcus again." I turned to her. "Again?" She sighed, rubbing her temples. "You always make it something it's not. He's my boss. He's touchy, yes, but that's just how he is. You're reading too much into it." "I'm not reading, Emily. I'm watching." She shook her head and stared out the window. "God, you're impossible sometimes." The rest of the ride was silent. The following week, she started staying late at work. "Deadlines," she said. "Presentations." I wanted to believe her, I really did. But the truth has a way of whispering louder the more you try to ignore it. One night she texted me. "Don't wait up. Dinner with Marcus and the team." Dinner with the team. Except her coworker Jenna, a woman I'd met before, posted a story on Instagram that same night. The caption read, "Wine night with this power duo, wine glass fire." The picture? Marcus and Emily. Just the two of them. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted to be sure. To know. So I waited, quietly collecting the little pieces that didn't fit together. Her phone always face down. The extra effort on her appearance. The way she smiled at texts she wouldn't show me. And then came the company's spring gala. A formal event, black tie. Emily was radiant that night, but distant. Like she was there with me, but not really with me. Marcus was there too, of course. Halfway through the evening, while speeches droned on, I saw them step out onto the balcony. I followed, my heart pounding. Through the glass doors, I watched as he placed his hand on her shoulder, leaning in close. She laughed softly, tilting her head just slightly. Then he hugged her. Again. But this time it wasn't casual. His arms wrapped around her in a way no boss should touch an employee. And she didn't move. She just stayed there. Something inside me went quiet. Completely quiet. I didn't storm out or cause a scene. I simply stood, placed my glass on the table, and walked out of the ballroom without a word. When I got home, I packed a small bag, just the essentials. I didn't even know where I was going. I drove aimlessly for hours before pulling into a small motel off the highway. The neon sign flickered like a heartbeat I was trying to outrun. I lay awake all night, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. Every smile. Every excuse. Every time she told me I was overreacting. By morning I had 17 missed calls. Then 23. Then 47. Her messages were frantic. Where are you? Please call me. It's not what you think. You're scaring me. I didn't respond. When I finally went home the next afternoon, she was waiting at the door, eyes red and swollen. Ethan, she whispered. Please talk to me. I said nothing. Walked past her into the living room. It wasn't what it looked like, she started. He's just a friend. It was stupid, I know, but... Stop. My voice was calm. Too calm. I've heard enough of your excuses. She stepped closer, desperate. I love you, Ethan. I swear nothing happened. I looked at her then, really looked. The woman I'd built a life with, shared a home with. The woman who once promised me honesty. Maybe nothing happened, I said quietly. But something broke. Tears filled her eyes. We can fix this. I shook my head. No, Emily. You didn't just betray me. You made me doubt myself. You made me feel crazy for seeing the truth. She reached out to touch my arm, but I stepped back. I can't do this anymore. The silence between us was deafening. Finally, she whispered. So that's it. That's it, I said. I moved out the next day. She kept calling for weeks, but I never answered. I didn't hate her, not exactly. Hate would have been easier. What I felt was worse. The hollow ache of loving someone who stopped choosing you long before you noticed. Sometimes I still see her name pop up somewhere on a company newsletter in a tagged photo. She looks happy. Or maybe just practiced. As for me, I've learned that silence can speak louder than words. That night, when I walked out of that ballroom, I wasn't leaving the party. I was leaving the version of my life where I kept pretending everything was fine. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't stay silent.